Runs with me. That helps a lot. That helps me make plays when everybody's sprinting the floor, filling the lane. So just them doing that, it makes it easy for me to make a decision.
It's opportunity for other guy, So I think Kobe, he's playing amazing for a rookie to guard like that and to get us open, get us involved. They still don't respect him in the league yet, but just such amazing to play with him and the rest of the guys as well. He gives us energy to play, and we just follow.
We did a better job staying in front of the ball, and our bigs came over and contested shots and able to rebound. So it's playing through a whole possession, and so I think we're helping each other more.
Welcome in, Hawks fans. It's your boy Russell is back at it again for another Bleav in Hawks episode. Ladies and gentlemen, Kobe Bufkin has arrived. The rookie continues to impress in his second game in the rotation with Trae Young out as the Hawks get a dominating victory in the return of former Atlanta Hawk John Collins tonight, 124-97. Really, the Hawks controlled this game from the get-go, starting off with a 12-0 run to begin the game. And Utah had like 4 turnovers in the beginning of the game, and they've never lost a lead. But they really blew it open in the third quarter, got it up to 20, and were able to keep the lead from there. So just a really strong performance across the board for these Atlanta Hawks at a game that they needed, and they were able to execute and did what they needed to do to win. So we're going to break it all down, obviously, on the podcast. Let's go ahead and dive right into it. The Hawks, obviously, coming into this game, big story, John Collins back in Atlanta. First time. Tribute package, tribute video, social team has been all over it. Not Trae, but John, obviously, thankful for his time here in Atlanta. Talked before the game, talked about, he talked, before he played this game about how it's been on his mind. And tonight, just talking about, he's excited to see some old faces, excited to see some old people he played with for so long. And, tonight was just a great opportunity for him to play back in front of the fans for the first time since he was traded. And, John Collins, tonight didn't have a good – he didn't have a good game. He only played 22 minutes, 5 points, 10 rebounds, negative 20 on the floor, 5 turnovers, and I think some people would sit there and kind of be like, so this is why we traded him, right? But overall, I think it was good. I'm glad the fans gave him a warm reception. He was a guy who put in the work here, wasn't always appreciated for the things and the sacrifices he made here in Atlanta. And so I'm really happy that he was able to get his flowers tonight and just get praised by the crowd and, recognize, he was a part of that early phase. He was part of that Eastern Conference Finals team. And, always wishing JC the best, always wishing JC the most success moving forward for a guy who, like I said, he's a hard worker and he wants to do anything he can to help his team win. So really glad about that. Now, the guy who replaced him tonight, Jalen Johnson, 22, 13, and 6 assists. He had the highest plus-minus on the floor with plus 33. That is a monster plus. Jalen Johnson, basically, when he played, dominated the Utah Jazz, and the team dominated the Utah Jazz when he was on the floor. He has stepped up in Trae Young's absence. If you remember the last few weeks, especially before the All-Star break, Jalen Johnson was kind of going through a period of time where he kind of went through a weird period where he was kind of struggling a little bit. Like, it wasn't struggling, but it was like his offensive game wasn't there. He was giving us 11, 12, 13, 14-point nights, which is okay, but I feel like people expected a little bit more from him offensively, right? Like, he had some decent 18, 19, 20-point nights, but it felt like it was very inconsistent offensively. Last couple of games, he's given us 21 and 22 points. He obviously understands with Trae Young gone, I have to step up. I'm now the guy who's expected to put points up and help this team score. And he's done that the last 2 games, and he's done it while also getting near triple doubles. Like I said, he had 13 rebounds, 6 assists tonight. Shooting efficiently, 9 of 14, 2 of 4 from the field from 3. He had a steal, and he did a great job. We saw during the All-Star break, the video before, or the video, I think it was Lauren L. Williams posted this video from the AJC before the first game after the All-Star break, where he was coaching. Quin Snyder was coaching Jalen in the gym, always teaching. And, clearly I wonder if maybe during this all-star break or whenever, and I wonder if Quin and Jalen communicated a little bit and he talked about some things he wanted him to improve so he could be more effective. And maybe that's what we're seeing right now from Jalen is the benefits of that as, he's still developing in his role. And now him being kind of like the number 2 guy right now with DeJounte, with Trae out, I think you're seeing the benefits of that and you're seeing the levels and the impact of his play on the court. One thing I've always said about Jalen Johnson is he's a guy who, when he plays, you can just feel his energy. You can feel his impact. You can feel it. He just has that where he's on the floor like, okay, yeah, he can change this game. And he's just on a trajectory to be an amazing player for this team and a guy who you clearly can see the Hawks need to build around. And he's a part of the core pieces that are going to be here in Atlanta. So, he played really strong tonight, with a really good performance. And like I said, plus 33 from the floor. I mean, that's as good as you can get for a guy like that. That literally is almost as good as you can get. So that was great. Bogi tonight, 19 points tonight, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, play well. Did what he needed to do. Actually got the highest second plus minus with 27. So when Bogi was on the floor, also was taking advantage of his opportunities. DeJounte didn't have the game he had last game, obviously. 17 points, 4 rebounds, 11 assists. Obviously, assist numbers have gone up, understanding, okay, I need to get guys involved in this offense with Trae out. So he's been trying to work on getting guys involved passing-wise. Gave us 17. Obviously, didn't need him to have a big game tonight, seeing the final score, but did what he had to do tonight for the most part. Sadiq Bey, 16 and 7. Usually pretty much is what he's given us on a nightly basis nowadays. And then Clint Capella probably, I would say, looked better tonight than he has. Still, obviously, you could tell he's working his way back to where he needs to be and trying to get himself right and get himself back in a good spot, realistically. DeAndre Hunter continues to impress off the bench, 28 minutes, 20 points. I mean, at the end of the day, we got to give DeAndre Hunter his flowers, man. He's playing really, really good. He's been really, really effective for this team. He's been really effective for, this role he's accepted. He's gracefully, it seems like from what I see, he seems like he's gracefully accepted coming off the bench because it's just helping him. He's playing in spurts. He's able to play. I think Quin is giving him the green light and the comfortability, and he's done a great job. And one thing too, it was also good. And I hit 9 free throws, getting to the line tonight. He's aggressive tacking the ball sometimes. Obviously, we've talked about the improvement in his 3-point shooting. He's done a lot of good things to help, really help this team off the bench. Bruno had 8 and 3. He continues to be solid off the bench and in Kongu's absence. And then Garrison Matthews gave you 6 points tonight. I mean, anything you can get from him is a plus. But now let's talk about the guy that we all want to talk about right now. Kobe Bufkin. Another strong night. A night that if you look at the stat line, it may not show that. But if you watch the game, you see his impact on the floor. A lot of guys on Twitter praising Kobe's defensive prowess tonight. He seems like already that he has the potential to be a really strong defensive player in this game and could be a cornerstone of an NBA defense. The way he communicates, the way he rotates, the way he sees things has been very effective. Even when he's on offense, he's playing. He's not being overly aggressive. He's taking what's there. He's playing within the system. He's not trying to show that Trae Young's out. I need to jack shots up and show Quin I can score. He's playing within the system. He's listening to Coach Quin, what he wants him to do, and I think it's led to great success for him. And one thing we have to credit again tonight for why maybe Kobe is in this position and why he's been able to be so effective, especially defensively, is the G League. Again, guys, the G League has put Kobe in this position to be this successful, because, like I said, they're running this system in the G League. And so that's helped Kobe so much because even though he's playing on this level against better competition, the system isn't new. It's not like he's trying to learn it and like, what do I do here? He knows it. He's defended in it. So now he's just now doing it at this level, which is with the main guys, and you're seeing it. The communication, the defensive organization, the rotations, all of those things are benefited because Kobe has done a really good job of getting people in the right spot and also reading things really, really well on the floor. And like I said, for a guy who's a rookie, it's always sometimes with rookies, sometimes it's you either have a guy who's really good defensively, but they're really aggressive, or you have like a guy who's really good offensively, but he has to learn his way defensively. You know, and right now, the thing is with this team is Kobe isn't needed or asked to score 20, 25, 30 points. He's not needed or asked to like carry. He just says, defend your guy. He put Jordan Clarkson in hell tonight. And, you know, just give us good minutes. If you can do that, we'll be fine. And I think that's what the Hawks have benefited from in the last 2 games, keeping teams to under 100 points in the last 2 games. Because of Kobe Bufkin's willingness to play within the system, his communication, and his defense. And I think that's something that's really, really good for him because, you know, Quin's going to have to make a decision. You know, Kobe had the highest plus minus of the bench players, 16 plus tonight. And he's going to have to figure out how, if Trae comes back this year, how do I keep Kobe on the floor? Because one of the biggest issues I think this defense has had is that they just never had a point of attack guy. And people mention it. You're having Trae play besides DeJounte Murray. You know, that combo in general isn't really ideal defensively. Now, if you have Kobe with DeJounte or even Kobe with Bogi, that works better. Because the thing about the NBA that makes it so fascinating is that you need every player fits in different ways. Every player fits in a different spot. You can have a lot of talented players, but they have to fit. If they don't fit, then it's like you won't see what you think you should see on the floor. The thing is, it's like I've always said this: DeJounte is a disruptor. He disrupts. Kobe looks like he can become a stopper. Now, if your backcourt is a disruptor and a stopper, I think that could be a pretty decent defensive backcourt. And even when Bogi's in there, even though he's a below average defender, you know, Bogi tries and he's put in rotation, you know, he can put up a fight defensively. And again, if you have a stopper out there, somebody like that, it works. And then also it helps naturally playing, you know, a point guard playing the point guard position, defending point guards, which DeJounte is doing, you know, and Bogi, you know, playing the 2. And then Kobe is a combo guard which pretty much in this system, he's played backup the last 2 games to DeJounte, but a guy who can play both 2 in 1 and defend both positions. So I think it's just you're using them better, and it's just making more sense from a roster standpoint to have Kobe playing in this role because he can guard other guards. And then you sometimes like you have DeJounte who disrupts, puts up a fight, tries to get hands up, make it hard, cut off lanes. And then Kobe can kind of come in there, kind of do the same thing, but also kind of actually guard him at the point of attack, not let him get past him, and really be able to put up a wall up there. So I think you've seen that, you know, and I think the biggest thing for me, and that's going to bring me into the next thing, is that, you know, people are talking about, you know, people are going to bring the narrative up. Trae Young, we're better without him. He's held us back. He's not good defensively. Because the biggest thing people are pointing from is that we're holding teams to under 100 points, and a player who's considered by a lot of people in the league a bad defensive player is out. And so now they're assuming that, oh, that's the connection. But don't forget, but for some reason, don't make the connection. Oh, we just added a really good point of attack defender that we desperately needed this whole year. And that could also help be the reason why the defense has played better. A guy who has helped organize and communicate on the defensive end in Kobe Bufkin that we have not gotten really a lot sometimes this season. And so we sit here and then we're trying to say, oh, well, it's because Trae's not playing. And it's like, no, like that's not it. Plus, you also have to look at the opponents. You played Orlando, who was depleted, and you're playing a Jazz team who, they're below 500 too. So it's not like you're playing 2 world beaters and you're doing this. Now, it's great because really this entire season we haven't done against any team. But the fact that we've played like this defensively against them has been great. And I think Kobe deserves a lot of credit. Like I said, we've barely seen Kobe and Trae play together. So how do we know Trae Young is the problem? If Trae comes back, Kobe plays, and they play together, and they're still doing this defensively, or just able to replicate this close to what we're seeing, to me, that's more of we just didn't have the right guys on the floor playing defense than more than Trae Young is the reason why. So I think people are going to push that narrative because people want to fit their narratives. If you weren't a fan of Trae Young and you Bleav he's holding this team back, this is only in your head strengthening your narrative against him. But if you obviously break down the team and know what's going on, you know that that's not the case at all. Because at the end of the day, we haven't seen, like I said, Kobe and Trae really play that much together. And so how can we make that assumption without actually seeing that actually happen? So I'm not going to go on that train. And especially when we play in Brooklyn coming up 2 straight games and against a team that's really not that great, we're going to sit here and think, okay, well, we're playing these teams. So clearly that means that we're about to go to a 4-game winning streak and that this is all without Trae Young. And so we're better without Trae, even though we won 4 in a row with Trae Young before. So, where the Hawks are outside of the defensive improvement, the Hawks are not, in terms of winning, doing anything they haven't done already this season yet. Now, after these 4 games, you play a couple of tough teams. I Bleav Cleveland's in town. I Bleav another team that's a winning record is in town. And if they continue to play well against them and they do this same performance against those guys, obviously that's a good outlook for, what's going on with this team and the strides and the improvements they've made. But overall, I don't think you can just say that that's on Trae Young or Trae Young is the reason why we can't. They just need a point of attack defender desperately. That's why they drafted Kobe Bufkin, for his point of attack defensively. Now, you may be able to sit here and say that wasn't expected. We weren't expecting this type of play from him so soon and so early. And that's very much a reasonable reason. But at the same time, it has happened. And now, okay, like I said, I just feel like if you're Quin, you can't, whenever Trae gets back, I don't think you can just put Kobe back on the bench and say he's not going to play when he's been such a big part of why you've been doing it. And especially even with Trae out, it seems like this team has still a very strong possibility to be a play-in team. And so they're going to be playing one more game than 82. And so if that means you're going to be competing for something, so you're going to play at a higher level of competition. Teams are trying to fight to keep their season alive. And so it'll be interesting to see Kobe in that realm, getting that experience, playing in those types of games. And he could become a major factor in maybe why the Hawks win some games like that. I think potentially with Kobe, if he stays in the lineup, you may even see Bogi at 3 more just so you can get Kobe on the floor, because you maybe can take a couple minutes away from Trae and DeJounte, but realistically, you got to take away all your minutes from Garrison Matthews. And then secondly, then you could maybe take some time. Like Bogi's playing 30 plus minutes right now. Obviously, he won't be playing 30 plus minutes when they get back, when Trae gets back. So you can take some of that time you're taking away from Bogi, give it to Kobe, and kind of just see what that looks like. And, if that continues to get better and that continues to show, now you also know, okay, Kobe Bufkin, he's here, he's arrived, he's in the rotation, he'll be here for years to come. And I'll be excited to see his growth and continue to see how he can improve as a player, especially as he gets more comfortable offensively within this team too. Because once Kobe gets that offense going, man, listen, DeJounte Murray, the Hawks may have more of a motivation to move DeJounte if they want to, because now it's like we can easily sit here and feel confident, because this realistically could be a tryout for Kobe to show them, like, we might be able to go with Kobe Bufkin as our starting 2 next year, if that's what they want to do. Obviously, if DeJounte moves, you don't have a backup point guard, so he could just be the backup point guard and they get another 2, which would probably be ideal, realistically. And then you realistically would have an avenue to keep Bogdanovich, because if you get Kobe as your backup point, and let's say you get another point of attack defender, 2-way, 2-guard who starts, now your weak defenders are Trae and Bogi, and then you have 2 good point of attack defenders, and now it evens itself out. And now it's like, okay, either or, whenever Trae or Bogi's on the floor, you still can have a good point of attack defender on the floor with them. So then in that situation, boom, now you're in a really good place, and you have a lot of good things going for you. Defensively, now the team has dramatically improved. So just something that could be on the line for Kobe to kind of show them, like, hey, maybe we go with Kobe Bufkin as our starter next year. You never know. That could be a discussion if he continues this. Obviously, giving him praise for what he deserves and what he's done so far for this team, but obviously don't want to get ahead of ourselves either. So very happy to see Kobe Bufkin continue to play the way he's been playing. Really happy to see that he's continuing to be the guy that they expected when they drafted him with the 13th pick in the NBA draft. So really, really solid on that end from those guys to do that. Hawks tonight, as a team, held the Utah Jazz 37% from the field. So, just really good team effort, really good team ball, and just really, really good across the board. Like I said, from just seeing everybody playing and doing what they have to do out there. So really, really solid tonight from the boys. Coming up on the Hawks schedule, like I said, they play Brooklyn twice. Brooklyn is a team that is worse than the Hawks right now. They have struggled mightily in the last few games offensively. And so the way this Hawks team is playing, very strong possibility that could continue. Now, Hawks are going to be on the road in Brooklyn for 2 straight days. They'll play Thursday, then play again on Saturday. So obviously, we'll see how the defense translates to the road, but excited. Then, like I said, next week you play 2 tough teams. Knicks coming in, you go into New York, Knicks Tuesday, then back in Atlanta against Cleveland, the team that you've struggled against, and then you go in Friday against the Memphis Grizzlies. So the Hawks definitely have some games coming up that are very winnable and will keep them in contention. Right now, they currently are in the 10th spot still, 2-game winning streak, a game out of 9th place. Chicago lost tonight, so still technically very much could get to 9. Bulls currently have the tiebreaker after beating the Hawks twice this season so far. I believe it's just twice. I think it's 2-1 Bulls. And the Hawks are about 6.5 games from 8th. So that will be tough to potentially try to get to 8 and try to make it a situation where you can potentially get a 2 seed. But, we never know what can happen. Right now, like I said, they're just moving up slowly and looks like they'll be maybe able to jump over the Bulls. And here soon if they continue this up and the Bulls continue to lose some games. So something to definitely keep an eye on with them moving forward for sure. If the season ended today and the Hawks missed the playoffs, they're currently slotted in at the 10th spot, just in terms of bad records in the league. So obviously lottery could change it, but you're technically still a top 10 lottery pick right now if the Hawks did not make the playoffs or lost in the play-in. So I know some fans are still potentially hoping for a tank, hoping for that, so the Hawks can potentially get a top draft pick in this year's NBA draft, which, again, I've heard multiple times, not really strong draft this year. We'll see if, obviously that is actually the case, but, something, again, that you can build off of and be happy about and be very, very happy about. Around the association tonight, I'll just do a quick round the association tonight. Right now, in terms of finals, Pistons after that. Listen, did y'all watch that Pistons game yesterday? That was crazy. That man got tackled, and the referees did not call that. That was crazy. They did not call that. I'm just like, I understand why Monty Williams came out after the game and got pissed off. I mean, you're literally tackling a guy and you don't make a call. Like it's so crazy how in the NBA refs in these moments sometimes swallow. Like I want to ask a ref who's retired and just be like, be honest with me, like off the record, because they probably will say it on the record. Off the record, like, do y'all like sometimes be like, I'm just gonna let this play out regardless, unless somebody gets literally right hooked, I'm literally just going to like not call anything? Because that's crazy how the Knicks did not get called for a foul there, and they literally dove at him, made contact, and they did not call anything. That's crazy. I completely understand why Monty Williams felt the way he felt, because that is insane to me how you do not make that call. Crazy. Like, I feel bad for Pistons fans, because you really probably feel it. Because Knicks fans were even in comments yesterday saying we probably should have lost that game. And I'm like, you think? So good for the Pistons to come back and win tonight after that debacle of a call. And somebody also made a tweet today. They said, this is what they said. They said, haven't you noticed that ever since sports betting has been more incorporated into the game, referees are kind of being wishy what has been worse than officiating? Potentially saying NBA rigged, NBA potentially not calling, referees not calling shit for parlays. Maybe. Very much maybe. So that is something to keep an eye on for sure. But yeah, Pistons gonna win tonight. Bucks beat the Hornets tonight, 123-185. I'm not going to say 185. That'd be crazy. Timberwolves. Ant continues to play at a high level, beating the Spurs tonight. He had 34 points in that game. Victor Wembanyama, quiet 17, 13, and 5, but we all know he's a freak. Celtics beating the 76ers tonight. Pelicans beating the Knicks. Magic beating the Nets. And the Cavaliers beating the Mavericks in a close game. Game winner by Max Strus at the buzzer. I don't know if you guys have seen it. If you haven't, check it out. Max Strus buzzer beater to beat Dallas after Dallas took a lead late in that game. So very exciting night for Cleveland. And then lastly, Warriors over the Wizards. 2 games in progress right now. Heat and Trailblazers. Trailblazers up by like 9. And then Rockets and Thunder. Rockets down by 2. So that is your night in the NBA. And I think that'll wrap it up here on the Bleav in Hawks podcast. Once again, thank you for tuning into the Bleav in Hawks podcast. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, Bricey_2K, BRICEY_2K. Also, don't forget, if you're listening to this audio, leave a rating, leave a review. Appreciate all the love any of you guys give me. Definitely want to try to continue to give you Bleav in Hawks content and covering our Atlanta Hawks. And also, if you're listening to this on YouTube or watching this on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like the video, show your boys some love. And appreciate, like I said, all you guys once again for tuning in and letting me be a part of your day. It's your boy, Bryce Lewis. I'll see you next time. Hawks trying to go for 3 in a row in Brooklyn.